please be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Foster versus Durden.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Ms. Foster, you say getting pregnant at the age of 17 pushed you into adulthood sooner than you expected. You claim Mr. Durden is denying your 15-month-old son, Ian Durden Jr. You are asking the court to order a paternity test so you can prove he is the father because you're struggling financially to make it on your own.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Durden, you say the court should not order a DNA test because you are 100% sure that you are not Ian Jr.'s father and you have proof. So, Ms. Foster, has Mr. Durden contributed anything at all for the baby?
No, Your Honor, he has not. I'm a single parent. Maybe once a pair of shoes when he was a little baby, but other than that, I pay for all the expenses, shoes, clothes, car seat, outings, anything you can think of, pretty much done by myself.
And so, Mr. Durden, you haven't helped at all?
No, I haven't. And the simple fact because I haven't helped because I don't want to get too attached to a baby that's not mine.
He has your name.
Yeah, Your Honor, I agree with that. And the reason because he has my name is because I was kind of like pushed to sign a birth certificate.
No, that is not true. We used to talk all the time about, if we have children, like I want my son to have my name.
I want to have my son to have my name.
Your Honor, he is definitely the father of this child, no doubt.
And you say you're struggling to make ends meet, and that's why you're asking this court to order a paternity test, and you also need help.
Yes. Like, my days are long. I call for the babysitter comes, I get ready for work, wait for the bus to come, get on the bus, go to work, come home, late nights, he sleep most of the time, so I don't even get to spend time with him when I get home. It's sickening to even sit here and have to go through this. He's not someone I just had a one-night stand with. We were in a relationship.
You submitted to the court your financial statements that outline how much money it's costing you to raise Ian pretty much by yourself.
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
You say your expenses, just for you, $750. That's food, getting back and forth to work, etc. For the baby, you're spending about $1,535 a month in diapers, clothes, food, etc. for the baby.
Right, yes, Your Honor.
So that totals $2,285, which leaves you in the negative every month. $637.
Yes.
So you're going under and you're going under fast.
Very. And it's just like I wouldn't even have to be in the negatives if I had a sit.
So you also submitted to the court that if Mr. Durden contributed financially monthly, just pretty much $750 for you, $767.50, which would be his contribution, you would have about $130 left over.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Durden, I mean, the numbers don't lie. Without your contribution, this young woman she's sinking financially, trying to take care of this child.
I understand that she is.
And you admit you have not participated financially to this point.
Yes, and the reason because every time we had sex, I used condoms.
And that is not true. And I have proof of that not being true.
And that's why you're saying, Mr. Durden, the court should not order a paternity test. There's no need because you say you used a condom every single time.
Exactly, because I spent my money on condoms.
So, yeah, clearly on condoms, but not on the baby. That's named after you.
It's not my baby. She didn't even let me know she went to the doctor.
That does not matter. I wanted to make sure that I was pregnant before I bring it to him. Nobody wants to just like, okay, I'm pregnant.
And even if that is the case.
If it's not the case, we did use condoms sometimes. Not all the time, not 100% of the time. No, that's not true. Me and Ian broke up. After that, he wanted to talk. He called me to a restaurant. We sat down and we talked for him. He just kept eyeing my phone. So when he was on my phone, he took it, he ran in the bathroom with it, read some text messages that were between me and a guy that
saw a picture.
We were talking on social media. We were on a break. Me and Ian were not together. He was someone who was comforting me at the time. It was not anything. We never had sex or anything like that.
Mr. Durden, what did you see on the phone?
I just saw messages with her, and when I saw that, I saw a picture too, actually. She took a selfie with a guy in a car, and it was the guy who took her to the doctor for the sonogram of the baby.
Okay.
Oh, so wait, let's there was another guy at your sonogram?
He was there when he was not.
But if that's my child, you would be willing to let me know things before you take action.
He wanted nothing to do with me. Like, he ignored me. When I was pregnant the entire time, I barely spoke to him. So it's just like somebody was there when you were not. I wasn't having sex with him. He wasn't my boyfriend. He was just there when you weren't.
That's
and
still
that
not an
night,
excuse.
that same night that he took my phone and ran with it, you know, I finally got him to come to the house so I can just sit down and talk to him. He didn't want to talk. He didn't want to have sex, so we did. And it was without a condom. And I believe that's the night that my son was conceived.
So this is what you believe is the conception night when you all had
Yes, Your Honor.
the makeup sex, pretty much.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you did not use protection?
No.
Do you remember that night, Mr. Durden?
Not quite. I do not remember the night, but I do remember buying condoms because I'm spending.
Well, you didn't use...
I'm spending my money on
Right, it's
condoms.
one thing to buy them, it's another thing to actually use them. If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. Mr. Durden, you said you signed the birth certificate.
Yes, Your Honor.
The child's named after you. Why did you sign
And
the
it
birth
was a
certificate?
problem with the child being named after me. She didn't want the child to be named after me.
So you lobbied for that?
It took her mother and I think one of her friends to tell her it's the right thing to do if the baby's his.
But I'm confused. You say this child is not yours and you have proof, so I don't even have to order a paternity
When we was in the hospital room, I didn't really want to embarrass her in front of her mom and her sisters and stuff.
But nobody forced you to sign anything. He didn't have to sign a birth certificate. He claimed
She
the
was
child
crying.
He claimed the child was not his. Tears or no tears. It's just like nobody forced you to do anything. You signed it because you wanted to.
The reason I come to the hospital because I wanted to try to be a man.
You left as a little boy.
I didn't want to get too attached to this child because in my head, this child is not mine. I know for a fact this child is not mine. Condoms are 98% sure.
Well, we're at the 2% because,
I mean, let's be honest. They're not 100% effective. And my trouble with your argument here today is that you say on the one hand, there's no way in the world you could be this child's father. On the other hand, you're saying your mother and everybody convinced her to name the child after you. And you signed the birth certificate. I'm trying to give you the opportunity to prove to me why it is absolutely unnecessary for me to order a test, but the more you testify, the more obvious it is to me that a test is needed. Now, you say you're 100% sure. Besides the condoms and the fact that you buy them and you buy them and you buy them, I get that. What else? How is it you know for certain this is not your child?
Because, Your Honor, the reason I know this is not my child is because I remember one time at school, we didn't go to the same school. So it's kind of hard to trust somebody that's not you. I don't even see her every day. So I had a phone call, one afternoon when we got out of school, I had a phone call from a friend. He was telling me that he saw Ivy with someone else.
I have friends, like, people see me with
Nah,
people all the time.
it wasn't that type of friend at all. It wasn't that type of friend. It was the type of friend you flirt with. It was the type of friend that, oh, your boyfriend is not around, so let me do this.
I never flirted with anybody, never had sex with anybody else. Ian is the one and only person that I've ever had sex with.
That's a lie.
So it's just like, how can you prove that? How can you prove that? I have never had sex with anybody else. It was my first and my last. Sitting here fighting who's the baby's fault, there is no other person that could be. The child looks just like him.
That child don't look like me.
Well, I have a picture of Ian Sr. when he was a baby.
I'd like to see this evidence, please. You submitted pictures to the court. One is Ian Jr., and the other is Mr. Durden as a child.
The exact same eyes, exact same complexion. If you were to remove the names, you would not know who was who.
Mr. Durden, do you see a resemblance?
No, I don't.
You don't?
I have evidence right here that's saying the safety of protection of condoms.
You are doing a condom ad today in this court.
Because
And listen, I applaud you for wearing them and practicing safe sex, I do. But there is that 2%.
Not in
You brought a witness, I'd like to hear from her. Ms. Jones, what do you know about this situation?
Well, this is my brother, Mr. Durden, and he's like my best friend. And one day we had a talk about Miss Foster and the baby, and he stated that she's pregnant. Like, I didn't even know they was having intercourse because they so young, they kids. So he also said that she cheated on him with her best friend, and her best friend looked exactly like my brother.
Really?
They can go for twins.
It was the boy she took a selfie with who took her to the doctor and she didn't let me know nothing about.
That's why I have my doubts too, because if they use condoms and she cheated on him around the time she conceived the baby, so it's a possibility that he can be the father also, because
Right.
they look exactly alike.
That's what's going on in your mind.
And then it's crazy because his family was at work when they made sure my brother came down there to the hospital to sign a birth certificate. Basically, they forced him to sign a birth certificate when she
had no
she
force.
know that he is not the father of that baby because
He is
she
a
had
grown
sex with
man.
another
At the time, Ian was 18 when he signed the birth certificate. Nobody can force anyone
But-
to sign any legal documents if they do not want to.
But at the same
He had
time,
a choice.
That's what
He
happens when
made the
kids
choice.
having kids. They go through things like this.
Let's get down to the bottom line. The stakes are really high here because if this court does not order a paternity test, Mr. Durden's on the birth certificate. You understand this. You're standing here today saying, we don't need to have a test, that's not my child, but you are that child's legal father because you signed your name on the birth certificate. So, by not wanting a paternity test, you're basically saying, this is not my child, but I agree to be financially responsible for him for the rest of his life till he's 18 years old.
When I first got to the hospital, I went there by myself. I talked to my mom. My mom was like, you need to do the right thing. So when I went to the hospital by myself, I saw that she was with her mother and her sister. And when I got there, I first held the baby as the picture you saw before. And when I held the baby, I thought to myself, this baby cannot be mine. It was kind of hard. I wasn't ready to be a father at all. I felt like I was holding a friend's child. And her family stepped out and the doctor came back in with the birth certificate. And I was sitting there with Ivy. I was like, should I put my name on this? And she was like, why not? She was even tearing up at the time.
Then you make the decision, I'm going to sign the birth certificate.
And the reason why I made the decision, I signed the birth certificate because I didn't really want to embarrass her in front of her family.
It's embarrassment. You coming up here.
A move needed to be made. So I said, what the heck, man? Like, just,
And you
just
had
put the ink on there.
Well, you understand that that's not getting it over with. That's getting it started. You know, you're 19. You're 19 years old, but you have to understand, signing a birth certificate isn't some arbitrary execution of. You are saying, I am the legal father of this child. I'm taking responsibility for this child. I am acknowledging that this is my child and I will take care of this child. Do you know you were saying that?
At the time, I did not understand that.
Well, you still don't understand it if you're in here saying that you don't want a paternity test. You need to be saying, please. At the end of the day, this court's decision is going to be as to what's in the best interest of this child. And in light of the testimony I've heard thus far, it is obvious to me that it is necessary and imperative to order a paternity test. I want you two to leave here, submit to the testing immediately, and we will return to this courtroom for the results. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court is adjourned. Do you want to watch Paternity Court on TV? Go to paternitycourt.tv to find your local listings. We're back in session in the case of Foster versus Durden. In our last session, you were ordered to submit to paternity testing, which you have, and we have the results here today. Before we go to the results, though, have you all had time to think about your positions? Are you still believing, Ms. Foster, that unequivocally Mr. Durden is the biological father of your son?
Yes, Your Honor.
And how about you, Mr. Durden? You first said that there was absolutely no way. No way.
I still feel like that, Your Honor. 100% this is not my baby.
Jerome, let's go to the results.
Okay.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Foster versus Durden, when it comes to 15-month-old Ian Durden Jr., it has been determined by this court, Mr. Durden, you are the father.
Can I say something, please?
What would you like to say, ma'am?
I don't think that I'm going to be able to get over the hurt. I'm overjoyed, that he knows now, that it's true. You are the father. But it's just like, what are you going to do differently?
Well, that's a good question, Ms. Foster. And Mr. Durden, that's what this courtroom's about. It's about getting people the answers they need, the truth they need, the clarity they need. You have been basically given a dose of truth today that I think you had convinced yourself that you weren't this child's father. What are we going to do differently? What are your intentions as it relates to this child now?
Well, Your Honor, I can't say what I'm gonna be doing differently is, gonna be in this child's life.
Good. I want to talk to you all a little more in my chambers, all right? So I will meet you there. Court is adjourned.